Welcome to Glory Empire Inspirations, where dreams get a royal makeover and procrastination gets the boot. Grab your crown and let's get inspired. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button down below. All right, my lovely lot, gather round. Today we're diving into a cracking story from the good old days, the tale of Samson and Delilah. It's got everything: love, betrayal, and some proper life lessons. So grab a cuppa, get comfy, and let's get stuck in. Once upon a time in the land of the Philistines, there was a bloke named Samson. Now, Samson wasn't your average Joe. He was a Nazarite, which meant he had a special vow with God. No booze, no haircuts, and definitely no touching dead things. But the best part? He had superhuman strength. Think of him as the original Hulk, but with better hair. Samson was a bit of a legend, known for his incredible feats. He once tore a lion apart with his bare hands. No joke. And he was a right pain for the Philistines, always causing trouble and getting away with it. But here's the twist. Imagine if today's mainstream media existed back then. We've got headlines from PBC, Philistine Broadcasting Corporation, and PNN, Philistine News Network. So let's see what the ancient tabloids would have said about our muscle-bound hero. First up, from PBC, Lion Slayer on the loose. In a shocking turn of events, a lone Israelite, identified as Samson, was spotted tearing a lion apart with his bare hands. Eyewitnesses report that the beast stood no chance against Samson's sheer strength. Local authorities are baffled and urge citizens to stay indoors after dark. Blimey, can you imagine the headlines today? Local man wrestles lion, wins. Absolute madness. Next, from PNN. Jawbone justice. Samson strikes again. In what can only be described as a massacre, Samson single-handedly took down 1,000 Philistines using nothing but the jawbone of a donkey. The scene was described as chaotic, with Philistine soldiers falling left and right. Samson's strength continues to be a thorn in the side of Philistine forces. 1,000 blokes with a donkey's jawbone? That's like something out of a superhero flick. Imagine the memes if this happened today. And from PBC, Samson's fiery foxes, fields in flames. In a bizarre act of vengeance, Samson captured 300 foxes, tied their tails together in pairs, and set them alight, before releasing them into Philistine grain fields. The resulting inferno destroyed vast amounts of crops, leaving the Philistine economy in tatters. Farmers are calling for increased security measures. Setting foxes on fire? That's some next-level revenge. Peter would have a field day with this one. Finally, from PNN, Temple toppled, Samson's final stand. In a dramatic conclusion to his tumultuous life, Samson brought down the temple of Dagon, killing thousands of Philistines, including himself. Witnesses report that Samson, blinded and weakened, prayed for one last burst of strength. With a mighty push, he collapsed the temple, marking a devastating blow to Philistine leadership. Talk about going out with a bang. Samson's final act was nothing short of legendary. Imagine the news coverage. Hero or villain? The debate rages on. So let's take a second to observe what we can take away from these ancient headlines. Samson's story is a roller coaster of strength, vengeance, and redemption. It's a reminder that even the mightiest heroes have their flaws, and sometimes the most extraordinary feats come from the most unexpected places. Now here's where things get juicy. Enter Delilah. She was a Philistine lass, and let's just say, she had Samson wrapped around her little finger. The Philistine leaders saw this as their golden opportunity. They offered Delilah a hefty sum of silver to find out the secret of Samson's strength. Delilah, being the crafty one, started nagging Samson. "Oh, Sammy, if you really loved me, you'd tell me your secret." And Samson, bless him, fell for it. Not once, not twice, but 3 times he gave her fake answers. But Delilah was persistent. And eventually Samson caved. He told her the truth. His strength was in his hair. If it was cut, he'd be as weak as any other bloke. So, while Samson was having a kip, Delilah got a barber in, and snip, snip, off went his hair. The Philistines captured him, gouged out his eyes, and threw him in prison. It was a right mess. Here are juicy details of how Delilah, the Philistine femme fatale, would have been persuaded to betray her lover, Samson. Imagine the scene: shadowy meetings, whispered promises, and a hefty bag of silver. Let's get into it. Picture this: a dimly lit room in the heart of Philistine territory. The Philistine authorities, looking all serious and shifty, are gathered around a table. Enter Delilah, looking as glamorous as ever. Philistine official 1. Ah, Delilah, thank you for joining us. We have a proposition for you. Delilah. Oh? And what might that be? I do hope it's worth my time. Philistine official 2. Indeed it is. We need you to find out the secret of Samson's strength. In return, we'll make you richer than you could ever imagine. How does 1,100 pieces of silver from each of us sound? Now that's a lot of dosh. Delilah's eyes must have lit up like a Christmas tree. Delilah. 1,100 pieces each, you say? That's quite the offer. But what if Samson finds out? He's not exactly the forgiving type. Philistine official 1. Leave that to us. Just get the secret and we'll handle the rest. Think of it, Delilah. Wealth, status, and the gratitude of your people. And just like that, Delilah was in. But oh, the gossip that followed. Word spread like wildfire through the Philistine grapevine. In the markets, at the wells, everyone had something to say. Did you hear? Delilah's been seen with the Philistine bigwigs. I reckon she's up to something. Oh, absolutely. They say she's going to betray Samson for a mountain of silver. Can you believe it? Well, I heard they're offering her a villa by the sea and a lifetime supply of wine. She's practically royalty now. The rumors were wild. Some said she was promised a palace, others a fleet of chariots. But one thing was clear. Delilah was about to make the deal of a lifetime. Back in the negotiation room, the Philistine officials were laying it on thick. Philistine official 2. Think of the future, Delilah. No more scraping by. You'll be the envy of all Philistia. Delilah. All right, you've convinced me. But remember, if this goes south, I'll be needing protection. Samson's not one to cross lightly. Philistine official 1. You have our word. Now go and work your magic. And with that, Delilah set her plan in motion. The rest, as they say, is history. But wait, there's more. Let's not forget Delilah's hairdresser, Zara, who had a front row seat to all the drama. Zara. You won't believe the day I've had. Delilah came in all flustered, talking about some big secret deal. I was just trying to give her a trim, but she kept going on about Silver and Samson. I told her, love, you better be careful. Men like Samson don't take kindly to betrayal. But did she listen? Of course not. Zara's salon became the epicenter of gossip. Everyone wanted the inside scoop. Zara, tell us more. What did Delilah say about the Philistine officials? Zara. Oh, they promised her the moon and stars. But mark my words, this won't end well. You can't play with fire and not get burned. So, there you have it. The secret negotiation that led to one of the most famous betrayals in history, with a cameo from Delilah's hairdresser, Zara. Delilah chose silver over love, and the Philistines got their man. If you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and share it with your mates. If you can learn anything from this, keep your friends close and your secrets closer. Diving into the aftermath of one of the most shocking betrayals in biblical history. Samson, the mighty Israelite, has been betrayed and arrested. Let's take a look at the headlines that would have been published if the mainstream media existed then and see how the Philistines were reacting, how Samson felt about the whole debacle. First up, let's check out the headlines from the Philistine media. PBC, Philistine Broadcasting Corporation has this gem. Samson snipped and snagged. The mighty falls. In a stunning turn of events, Samson, the Israelite strongman, was captured last night after being betrayed by his lover Delilah. Authorities report that Samson was found weakened and disoriented, his legendary locks shorn off. Philistine citizens are celebrating in the streets, hailing Delilah as a national hero. Well, isn't that just the cat's pajamas? The Philistines are over the moon, throwing parties and singing Delilah's praises. But let's not forget, Samson's having a bit of a rough morning. Now, over to PNN, Philistine News Network, with their headline, Delilah's Deception, Samson's Strength Stolen. Delilah the Philistine beauty has successfully uncovered the secret of Samson's strength. After lulling him to sleep, she had his hair cut off, rendering him powerless. Samson was swiftly arrested and is now in Philistine custody. Sources close to Delilah say she is enjoying her newfound wealth and status. Talk about a plot twist. Delilah's living the high life, while Samson's probably wishing he'd listened to his mum and dad. Speaking of which, let's imagine what Samson's parents might have said. Picture this. Samson, sitting in his cell, head in his hands, thinking back to all those times his parents warned him about Philistine women. Samson's mum. Samson, love. Those Philistine girls are nothing but trouble. Stick to your own kind. Samson's dad. She's right, son. They'll lead you astray. Mark my words. And now, here he is, regretting every decision that led him to this point. Samson. Why didn't I listen? Mum and Dad were right. Delilah played me like a fiddle. Meanwhile, the Philistine gossip mill is in full swing. At the local market, everyone's talking about the scandal. Did you hear? Delilah's rolling in silver now. They say she's got a new villa by the sea. I heard she was promised a lifetime supply of wine. She's practically royalty. Well, I heard she was seen with the Philistine bigwigs, laughing and toasting to her success. Delilah's certainly made a name for herself, but at what cost? Let's not forget, betrayal has a way of coming back to bite you. So, there you have it. The morning after Samson's betrayal and arrest. The Philistines are celebrating Delilah's living it up, and Samson's left to ponder his choices. It's a classic tale of love, betrayal, and regret. Folks, keep your friends close and your hair even closer. We're diving into the dramatic finale of Samson's life, his last victory over the Philistines. It's a story of redemption, strength, and a bit of divine intervention. Our story picks up with Samson, now a shadow of his former self. Captured, blinded, and imprisoned by the Philistines, he's at his lowest point. But even in the darkest of times, there's a glimmer of hope. Samson's hair, the source of his strength, had begun to grow back, and with it, a spark of his old self. Samson. Lord, I know I've made a right mess of things, but if you give me one last chance, just one more burst of strength, I promise to make it count. Samson's prayer was heartfelt, a plea for redemption. He knew he'd been a bit of a muppet, ignoring his parents' warnings and letting his heart lead him astray. But now he was ready to set things right. Meanwhile, the Philistines were having a grand old time. They were so chuffed with themselves for capturing Samson that they threw a massive party to celebrate. The Temple of Dagon was packed to the rafters with Philistine bigwigs, all half-cut and full of themselves. Philistine official. Bring out Samson. Let's have a laugh at his expense. And so they dragged Samson out of his cell, thinking he was just a broken man. Little did they know, his hair had grown back, and with it, his strength. As Samson stood between the two central pillars of the temple, he felt the weight of his past mistakes. But instead of wallowing in regret, he rededicated himself to God. Lord, let me die with the Philistines. Give me strength one last time so I can bring down this temple and take these blokes with me. With a mighty push, Samson strained against the pillars. The Philistines, too busy patting themselves on the back, didn't notice until it was too late. The temple began to shake, and before they could react, it came crashing down, killing everyone inside, including Samson. The aftermath was nothing short of catastrophic for the Philistines. They'd lost their leaders, their temple, and their sense of invincibility. Samson's final act was a massive blow, one that would be remembered for generations. Did you hear? The temple's gone, and Samson took everyone with him. Serves them right for getting too cocky. They should have kept an eye on his hair. And what about Delilah, you ask? Well, she was nowhere to be seen. Rumour has it she took her silver and legged it, knowing full well that the Philistines would be looking for someone to blame. So, what can we learn from Samson's last stand? It's a tale of redemption and the power of faith. Even when you've hit rock bottom, there's always a chance to turn things around. Samson's final act was one of courage and dedication, a reminder that it's never too late to make a difference. If you enjoyed this story, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and share it with your mates. Until next time, stay strong, stay focused, and remember, sometimes a fresh haircut can change everything.